All right, Steven, I think they're ready for us. Let's get it. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so my name is Christian Hayes. Welcome, everyone. And this is my co-host, Steven Springer. We have a special guest with us today. And when the time is right, we'll make sure to introduce you all, and you don't want to miss a second of this interview and conversation that we have going today. We just want to let everyone know, because we have started to receive a new audience as our channel has continued to grow, that Steven and I will typically wear different things. And you might end up wondering, is there a message behind it? There is. So Steven and I will usually either wear sporting gear or sometimes jerseys if you watch previous episodes, or today I'm wearing my company Shift Movement. Steven, what you got on today?
So I just got back from the Outer Banks. So like what you just said is kind of like, this is a random occurrence. I just got back from the Outer Banks. And one of the places that we go through down there is called Duck, North Carolina. I guess it's a popular spot. So my mother-in-law got me the shirt. Obviously playoff Nike says just duck it. So sporting the Outer Banks gear. So shout out to the OBX fan.
Shout out. So that's the one thing, if you haven't been watching recently. So Steven wasn't here last week. So if you go back and watch that one, I was doing shout out just in memory and loving for Steven. But we'll jump into everything right now. We do have a giveaway going on. Once we get to 100 subscribers and then any of the videos get to 100 likes, I will be giving away $100 in Bitcoin. And then if anyone can think of the best name for our cryptocurrency segment, we will be giving away $25 in Bitcoin. And that, so make sure to end up writing down what you think would be the best one. And jumping right into the sports aspect, we want to talk about Sha'Carri Richardson. So if anyone has not heard, she did test positive for marijuana. This is something that she acknowledged and owned up to. But she is supposed to serve a 30-day suspension with the potential of her being able to do the relays, but she will not be able to do the 100 meters. There have been people that have come out, such as Alex Morgan in women's soccer and Steven Jackson in basketball, that have shown support for her. What are your thoughts, Steven?
It's not a performance enhancing drug. If anything, it would make her slower. If anyone catches my drift, I don't think it's a big deal. I think like you have to acknowledge that it's the rule. Like that's pretty much it. Like it's the Olympics. So it's not like this is, a Parks and Rec league. It's the Olympics, and they test like this is one of those things that they're going to test for. It's going to, if it comes up positive, you're going to be screwed. And like, that's kind of how it is. Should it be like that? No. I mean, I feel like marijuana is like, it's not a performance enhancing drugs. It's not steroids. It's not, anything like that. So it's not like she tested positive for cocaine or crystal meth or anything like that. So I think it's kind of stupid. But again, like not to play devil's advocate and not to like, be on that side of things, but it is the rules. And like, I understand like the background of it and why she did it, but there's also athletes who have been like Michael Phelps, for example, got pictured taking a rip from a bong. So like, and he was good. And so it's just, I mean, luckily she can, hopefully partake in the relays. Sucks that she can't do the 100-meter dash because she was killing it in all the qualifying events. So, I'm with her. Like it's good for her to own up for it and admit that she made a mistake and all that kind of good stuff. But it's just stupid in general.
Before we jump into the next segment, I will say, if anyone has looked at this, so Claire Lehman, I'm not going to give her a lot of credit, but she said probably one of the dumbest things I've probably ever heard. She said that she felt Sha'Carri Richardson used steroids because of her strong hair and nails. I was like, all right, if that's really what you want to go and say that's the reason, whatever. So we'll move on from that, but we just wanted to acknowledge that situation. And then we also want to say our condolences, thoughts, and prayers go out to everyone in Miami with the building. If you haven't heard, you can almost just type in Miami condo anywhere. And it's a disappointing sight to see. It's awful when you start to hear about the regulations that were just looked over that they should have acknowledged and adhered to. But we just wanted to say we do think about them. And we'll jump right into the Euro 2020. So if anyone knows me or has been watching the channel, they know I've been up to date on soccer, aka football. And a lot of the people on Twitter have been having conversations with us too. So Spain beat Switzerland in PKs. And then we had Italy beat Belgium. If anyone's been following Italy, they have not lost yet. So they have had a strong run so far. Denmark beat Czech Republic 2-1. England beat Ukraine 4-0. Sorry, 4-0, Stephen. And then On July 6th, we'll have Italy versus Spain. They're in Wembley Stadium now. So like I said before, Italy has not lost. And then Spain has only won one game when they were in group play ever since they've been winning, of course. And then on July 7th, we have England versus Denmark. The odds are in England's favor, of course. That's why I'd probably go with. Then the championships for anyone that's going to continue following will be July 11th. So just going into some detail with Italy, 6 different players have scored and 4 players have scored at least 2 goals. So it just shows you how dominant they've been, not just leaning on one person, but leaning on a bunch of different people. And then for England, it's been Sterling and Kane. So if anyone's followed anything that I've done, they know that Sterling and Kane have been the 2 that's been balling for them. Now we'll move over to the NHL because we do have some hockey fans.
Wait.
Time out. Sorry about that.
So we all know that my love for soccer is not quite on Christian's level yet. But I did watch the Spain-Switzerland match. Those PKs by Switzerland were heinous. Heinous. Like I saw so many people on Twitter afterwards saying that it was the worst set of PKs they've ever seen. And I think most of them look like my 2-year-old son kicked them on the ground. They were like all on the ground. They were like not even close. The goalie had all the time in the world, basically. So I just want to give my 2 cents on the Euros.
So then we'll go to Copa real quick before we go to NHL. So we have Brazil and Peru that are playing as we are recording this. And it's the 84th minute. Brazil's winning 1-0 to Peru. And then we have Argentina versus Colombia coming up. That's another game that I've been looking forward to as well. And then we'll jump into NHL. So Tampa Bay Lightning are playing the Montreal Canadiens. It's currently 3-0. Me personally, I'm going to go with the Lightning. One, if you've seen any second of the series, the closest game was 3-1. That's the closest game that they've had. There was another game that was like 5-3 or 6-3. So the Lightning are kind of just killing them. And it's a 3-0 series. So they have the chance to close it out. A lot of people do think they'll close it out. We'll end up seeing. And shout out to them because if you watch the NBA playoffs, if you watch the NBA playoffs last year, you notice that you could just get hot at the right time. And if anyone's been watching the Tampa Bay Lightning, they finished 3rd in the Central Division, and they're currently on the brink of winning the Stanley Cup. So that's a huge thing.
Back to back, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go back to back. So
yeah, second straight.
Them,
yeah, that's big. And so we'll jump into the NBA real quick. So Suns Bucks. So I want to get your thoughts and what you got.
I'm just glad the Hawks aren't in it. We all know my love for the Hawks is not quite there yet. I just that would have been a great story. Like would have been great to see Trae Young and that team, but I just like this better. I'm happier that this is the matchup. Shout out to Chris Middleton for showing up when Giannis was out.
Finally,
shout out to him. Big shout out. I think it's gonna be a great series. I think for all of the teams that didn't make the finals, that people thought were gonna make the finals. I think this is, and I think maybe pick the Bucks. They were the favorites heading into the season this year, but I just think a lot of people obviously thought that the Nets were gonna be there. Maybe the Sixers had a better chance, whatever. But yeah, this is good. Give Giannis a couple more days to get right. Hopefully, I haven't seen anything about his availability. It looked. I mean, if anybody saw it live, it looked pretty.
Yeah, it was not the best.
I think. All right, and I also gotta say this real quick. Reggie Miller needs to stop playing doctor. Okay, because every single injury that's out there, every time someone gets hurt, twists an ankle or something, it always says, "Oh, torn ACL." I remember when KD first injured his calf last year, not when he ruptured his Achilles, but when he injured it, I think early in the playoffs it was, he said that looked like an Achilles. Obviously it ended up being that, but okay, all right, Reggie, relax. And one more shout out to Marv Alberts. Called his last NBA game. He's been around for a long time, and he's been around for a lot of our NBA watching experience, and it's been great. To be able to listen to him and watch him close out his career. Shout out to him. And Reggie Miller, please stop playing doctor. Please.
Who you got to win the series?
Bucks and 7.
Man.
Hashtag fear the deer.
So Tyler, you want to jump in? Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I think the Bucks are going to seal the deal on that one with the fear the deer and all that.
I guess it just depends on Giannis's health. I mean, if he's even if he's 75%, I'm gonna take the Bucks because I don't think anybody can really stop him on the Suns. Maybe your boy Jay Crowder.
I know. That's the only one.
Yeah, I think I'm glad Tyler's with me. That's a good start to our newly connected friendship here. Good start.
So anyone that's known me, watched me, heard whatever I've said, Stevie, you know this, I'm going with the Suns. I thought that they had a chance since they had the play-in games and like they versed LA, and I said, all right, if the stars align and the chips fall in their favor, they can do it. Then I was on record saying that hot take, then Steven said not a hot take, but the Suns would end up winning the finals. So now they're at the next step. I know it's going to be a series. If the two games that they had, I was looking at some stats, between the two regular season games, it was 253 to 251 total points, which shows that hopefully it can live up to that and be a good series. But I'll go with the Suns in 6. Like I've always said, there's only one person in the playoffs that was fully healthy that could shoot with anybody, and that was Booker. Now I want to see if he can live up to it because a lot of the people on the Suns, they're all fresh and young. CP3 is the one that's going to basically give him a lot of the veteran experience. So Jay Crowder will too. But I always was just talking to my friends the other day because we saw Cameron Payne play in college and we knew he was going to be pretty nice, but we didn't know he would step up the way he did step up in the playoffs, even when CP3 was out. But it's going to have to be a lot of Chris Paul leading the way. Devin Booker's going to have to give you almost 30 every single time, whether or not Chris Middleton's scoring. So you can't even worry about, is he going to make it? Is he not? Who knows? I honestly don't know. Drew's another one that it'll be a good matchup seeing Drew and Chris Paul because they're two of the more better point guards on defense as well in the league that we do have than just seeing like Booker and Middleton would be kind of good to see. I want to see what Bridges and Crowder can do on Giannis and who's going to stop Aiden because Brook Lopez clearly is not going to be putting bodies on him. So I can see.
Whoa. I will not have any Brook Lopez slander on this podcast. I will have no slander. He's going to take him out to the arc, and he's going to just.
That's the thing. Yeah, Aiden's not staying with him. They're so different.
I will not stand for Brook Lopez slander. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I'm not gonna lie though, I would like to see the Suns win, and the only reason why though is because my brother actually played with Devin, like sports growing up. He's a Mississippi boy, and that's where I'm from, Mississippi.
That's what's up.
Yeah, so just that's.
I respect that. Okay, I respect the background story of that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But are you going with the Bucks though? Are you going with the Bucks? It's different from who you want to see win.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Bucks just based off of fundamentals and players and whatnot.
Right? There you go. Perfect.
Okay. So I know, Steven, you could be a better man at times. Same with you, Tyler. So the odds for game 1 are minus 250 for the Suns, and then the spread is 5.5 points. I can see it honestly being a close game, especially for the first one, because they've only played twice in the regular season, and it was a shortened season. So they're going to be feeling each other out at least the first quarter. Who knows if Giannis is or is not going to be playing? They're clearly not going to play his brother to just replace Giannis. So they're just going to have to figure out what to do. It'll be a big defensive game. That's what I do like about them. This isn't the old Phoenix Suns that we used to see running gun all the time. They can do that. But when you have someone like Ayton, he's very different than Stoudemire was down there. Or when Shaq was there, it'll be a different ballgame that they're end up playing there. But we did mention his name, and I want to bring him in definitely for this conversation we're about to have because we're going to go into Cardia Chain, ticker symbol is KAI, but I would like to give a warm welcome to a good buddy of mine in the cryptocurrency space, and he is the head of community engagement for Safe Haven. We have Tyler Duson.
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Tyler.
Thank you, Tyler. So before we get into anything, just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Safe Haven.
Yeah, of course. So I mainly manage the community of Safe Haven, develop community growth strategies, talk with other crypto communities and explain to them the products that Safe Haven has to offer. And that might even involve setting up small communal projects within their communities as well. It also entails me speaking with other crypto projects as far as their team members go and facilitating meetings so that we could possibly create a partnership with our project, just stuff like that.
Cool, cool. So that's something I really do appreciate about Tyler. Just a little bit of background. So I typically will communicate with Tyler on Twitter, and he does do a lot of engagement and communication, whether it's on Telegram or even on Twitter. And he's very good with the community. Whenever anybody has anything, he'll get back to you. So don't ever feel like you can't reach out to him. And he also will have a lot of knowledge on it and will love to break it down for you. We'll break it down here, but if there's anything ever on Twitter, if we don't cover anything, he can almost break down anything for you. And he's extremely supportive of working with other communities too. But I want to get into Cardia Chain and the sports aspect so we can blend it in and then we can go fully into crypto. And just for people that don't know about KAI, it's a blockchain infrastructure that is working to connect other blockchains. And the reason why Tyler and I wanted to bring this up today is the aspect of esports and then also just sporting in general that they have, because they're doing tips and different betting. And during COVID, they started to focus more on esports. And a big one was League of Legends. So think of in different games, a lot of people probably know Halo or Call of Duty when you can get first blood. So there's a way for you to end up betting who you think is going to get first blood or who do you think is going to win. Or in some of the games, there might be killing dragons. Who do you think is going to kill the most dragons in the game? So what are your thoughts on all of this, Tyler?
I think this is the future of pretty much everything when it comes to gaming, sporting, real estate. You pick an industry and crypto is going to be there 100%, especially when we start talking about international space travel and whatnot.
Yeah.
But let's stick with the sports and gaming. So as far as sports, how I see it going to evolve the ecosystem as a whole, from a currency aspect, it's going to enable multiple different features of betting. I was just talking to Christian about this earlier. So like, y'all ever had a moment to where you're waiting in line for the guy in front of you to get their bet in, and you might miss the window to get your opportunity? Or by the time you get up there, the money line changes, and now you don't want to take the bet. Well, with crypto, you're going to have a lot less of that because you could do it within seconds. So you're not going to have to worry about the lines changing. You're not going to have to worry about waiting in front of someone. And Cardia Chain, one of their main focal points is to put iPad devices in the seating arrangements of stadiums to where essentially you can make play-by-play bets. You could tip the player after they score a goal and whatnot, multiple different things. So that's really going to open up the movement of liquidity as far as betting goes. But there's also a lot of other things that crypto is going to do as far as accessibility to these games and events. I was actually discussing this with David Kerr, our strategic change advisor. So one thing that we both see these franchises doing is creating season tickets through the form of NFTs. So
cool, yeah.
Yeah, so the season tickets would be on your crypto wallet. They'd stay there, and then you'd only have to provide proof of ownership, maybe scan a barcode to show that it's on your wallet, and that allows you access to the booths up top, the special booths, maybe backstage, maybe discounts at the concession stand, all sorts of things. Because the way crypto works when you're talking about NFTs, it's a token ID that's created upon the minting process, and it's a limited amount. So it'll tell you how many were created upon that minting, and all the token IDs never change. So essentially, they could write the smart contracts that enable people to purchase things for cheaper while noticing those token IDs on your wallet to where it happens automatically, to where there's no human interaction involved. It just reads it, writes it, done.
And what's crazy about that is, Steven, because I think of whenever we go to Penn State games, and you just think of what if it was Saquon's? So Saquon Barkley, if anyone doesn't know. So what if it was Saquon's last game? And Steven and I will get tickets for it. And you can almost have that as an NFT. And just like when Jordan's last game, just like when it was Kobe, rest in peace, his last game, those different tickets will still sell and resell and things of that nature. So I just think about that aspect. And another big thing that we were talking about betting and tipping. So I'd go to a lot of horse races too, because that's a huge betting thing. And you can almost be right in your seat instead of having to go to the gates to end up placing your bet and stuff. You can do it right there. And then the odds are always going to change in horses. What if something happens to the horse right beforehand and you want to switch your bet and things of that nature? So it's a huge thing, and they're working with on sports, but I can only imagine if they were able to have their own app or synchronize into either FanDuel or Action Sports or even DraftKings, any of those, just to help it move faster. I think it could be something big. So Steven, because Tyler and I were talking about it, what would you think of NFT aspect if it was Saquon's last game, or even, I don't know, it can be Allen Robinson or anything of that nature?
I think, I mean, just to go by what Tyler said, I think it's like, it's just going to change everything. Like, it's just going to be a ever evolving type of deal. And I think once people fully understand like where that's going to take the sport and like how things are going to be presented, I mean, you're not ever not going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just like Tyler, just like you said, I'm going to keep saying this. It's the future. Like, whether people like it or not, like, it's just going to be like that. Yeah. I mean, that's just how it's going to go, which, you got to keep up with the times. You got to keep up with everything, and things are just going to keep changing. And especially with crypto, it's just going to keep evolving. And like we said with Mike, one of our first interviews, like, it's very early, but things are just rapidly approaching in terms of ideas, and then those ideas get sucked in, and then they get spit out in terms of like, here's what we're doing, so like, get on board with it. And I think it's pretty much how it's going to go. And again, I'm just going to keep referring to what Tyler said, like, it's the future. So I think it's going to be great for the sports, and like make things a lot easier for people and more entertaining, to say the least, which is like, sports are entertaining enough. Like, no matter what sport it is, it's always entertaining. I watched a lot of cornhole on my vacation. I watched a lot of the Johnsonville Cornhole Championships, and that was some unbelievable sports moments. But just like, it just adds more value to everything, and that's what people care about, is value. Like, what brings in the most value, and what can they get their hands on that's going to be the next big thing. And I think that's probably gonna be it, or at least one of them in sports.
Yeah. So Tyler, you brought up NFTs, and I want to circle back a little bit to how it all began. So when did you first get involved in cryptocurrency? Because that's always the biggest question I always ask. I want to know when people got involved, and how did you become a part of Safe Haven?
Yeah, so long story short, after I got out of college, I decided to go truck driving for a little while over the road. And
we got to circle back on that. We got to circle back on the truck driving thing at some point, because I'm fascinated by it. But keep going.
Yeah, so I was truck driving, and I was bored like any other driver, listening to YouTube videos on finance, how to advance my ways of life, right? And I just started getting into crypto. Well, more into crypto, like, as far as the depth. I was always aware of it in the background before that, but I never truly started studying it, and I never truly got invested. Because, and this is going way back, but whenever I was a teenager, I got one of those emails that was telling me about Bitcoin, and I told my dad, hey, why don't we look into this? And one thing led to another. That's back whenever it was peer to peer, and you had to meet people in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Old dad said, no, that ain't flying.
No.
So we didn't get into it whenever I was young. And then, of course, so going back to the truck driving, I started doing videos looking into it. And first one that I bought was Bitcoin. Then the next one that I bought was Dogecoin. I bought a lot of Doge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have it anymore. I sold it whenever it hit a couple cents. But yeah, that's what initially got me into crypto, just learning more about it and listening to other people talk about it. And then fast forwarding, I became a community member in Safe Haven, just a community member. I dove really deep into the project, mainly because I actually lost my inheritance at a young age. And that's kind of what started the truck driving, to be honest. So that's why I was so passionate about Safe Haven in a sense. And I just started learning about the ecosystem, helping the community. I just basically moved up the ladder little by little, and now here I am today, just doing head of community growth.
Yeah, and what's crazy, so Stephen, I think about this because I'll talk to some of my friends. When I first started engaging and talking to Tyler, I didn't even know he was the, the head of community management and engagement. I just honestly thought he was a great guy in cryptocurrency and also just knew a lot of information in Safe Haven as well as a lot of projects. And then when I ended up realizing his title, it just made so much sense because he was the right person for Safe Haven. And then if you just look along his Twitter, Safe Havens, so many people will give him applause or just praise the work that he's doing because he is doing such a great job. So that's something I always have to say. My next thing is, how did the concept and idea of Safe Haven come about?
Yeah, so that's actually a pretty interesting one. That's all revolving around our founders, Jurgen, Andy, and Legino in the past. So they all essentially met in like a pub, like a like a beer joint, and discussed the idea there. So Jurgen, he worked for the British Parliament agency. He was what was it? Security engineer, like head of security engineer there. He was engineering software and all that. Like he's crazy smart. He's the brain behind it all. And Andy, he's been in the industry as far as front end, back end, coding and whatnot for multiple different companies. So, and Legino was just connected with him. And yeah, so they met at the pub, talked about the idea, and one thing led to another. They started getting the patents process, started developing the tech, got the licensing, got the token registered underneath Singapore, because in Belgium you can't have cryptos there. So that's why it's like a two-part kind of ecosystem. Safe Tech owns all the licensing and patents and whatnot, which is registered in Belgium, while Safe Haven is registered over in Singapore, which is the cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So, but Safe Haven's more than just Inheriti. It's a massive DeFi products. It's more than just one, and we can go a little bit more into that. But what did you want to say?
Yeah, no, that was the big thing. I was actually going to give a shout out to you all because a lot of people probably noticed there was an update and enhancement to the website. And that's something I wanted to give a lot of credit to because I noticed a lot of people were talking about it. And I just wanted to give credit to you all for that and then dive right into what is Safe Haven.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We've been working on the Inheriti update for a while. That one released first. We're about to release the new Safe Haven website, and that's going to be a total new look. It's going to be able to explain how all of our products work with ease. It's just going to be a step-by-step flow. You could see all of our security audits, the protocols, docs, videos on how to navigate through the platforms. So it's going to be much better than our previous website, and I think everyone's going to be pleased.
Definitely. So we'll go into this one because then we have a community question after. What is Inheriti? Because I know a lot of people have heard of it, but what exactly is it?
Yeah, so Inheriti, it's a Web3 platform that enables you to establish a decentralized inheritance or personal backup plan. And quite simply put, what does that mean? So a Web3 platform is a platform that does not monetize any of your data. It doesn't collect any of it. So none of your private credentials and information that you input while you're filling out the inheritance plan is recorded in the back end. We don't have any of that. All that data, it's encrypted, utilizing AES 256 military grade encryption. And then essentially what it does is it takes that long string of characters, turns it into an unreadable format by the human eye. Then it fragments that into multiple shares. And then those plan shares are then stored on safe key hardware devices. I've actually got one with me. Let me grab it really quick.
This is amazing stuff, by the way.
It is, yeah. First time I heard it.
Thanks, man.
Oh my goodness.
It's taken quite some time to make all this stuff and get things patented, but we're glad we did, because without security, you have nothing, right?
Yeah,
if only I knew what
huge.
half of that meant. Like, this is like I'm just happy to listen to this. This is great.
But this is the box that it comes in right now.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can see it that well. Oh, come on.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. And then when you open it up, you get this little it's like a USB drive, right?
Mhm.
And you essentially just you plug it in and then you squeeze it to activate it. And then it's going to ask you to input the PIN code that your parent, the deceased, gave you upon retrieving the safe key. Because the way that it works is all that information encrypted, fragmented. Some of the plan shares are stored on here for your heirs. And then they have to have a PIN code to essentially offload those shares and merge them with their siblings or other beneficiaries in the merge authority. It's the only way that those plan shares can come off. So that's another additional layer of security that we've developed. But yeah, it's rather unique. So whenever you pass away, you get with all of your siblings and the other beneficiaries. You meet with the merge authority, which can be anyone. It could be the oldest heir, or it could be what we recommend, which is a lawyer.
Mhm.
And they don't even have to receive a portion of the inheritance, but they're the merge authority with the plan shares. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And when all plan shares get combined, here's where the magic happens. You can't just look at the inheritance plan. No, you have to wait for the validator share to be released from the blockchain. Well, how does the final share get released from the blockchain? Well, that's the dead man switch. When you're filling out your inheritance plan on Inheriti, you literally define the amount of time that you have to respond to the message, which could be an email that's sent to you, or you logging into the Inheriti platform with your Safe ID account. Now, we're going to add call and text messaging and stuff like that as we advance, and we can add those features. But for right now, it's just email and logging into the platform. But if you basically respond to that message or log in within the amount of time required, the validator share does not get released, because that tells the system, hey, I'm still alive. Don't let my beneficiaries get that stuff.
Oh, that's good.
But if you're not alive, then that validator share gets released from the blockchain. All plan shares are there. And then the inheritable data dialog box is completely revealed. You see everything that was typed from the beginning. And that's another really important thing that I want to note. So when you hear decentralized inheritance plan, we don't control who gets what portion of what. All we do is provide a service that enables you to encrypt data to where no third parties can get that data, and then your heirs get that data. So they recover the wallets, and then they're going to be directed by the merge authority, which is why we recommend a lawyer, to distribute those assets. So you get with the lawyer and you say, I want 25% here, 10% here, 25% here, yada, yada, yada. But if you're in a certain religious area, such as the Muslim religion, they believe in having a certain amount of inheritance going to each heir. They can't even decide. The Quran tells them. So we're getting off subject a little bit, but that's
That's deep. So the next one is, and I appreciate that because it's a huge thing, and I'll start relating it into the next one because the next question is a community question. So Chef Crypto Crip on Twitter, he ended up giving this question. I'll bring it into a real life example. So the question is, how easy is it for loved ones to access info following a loved one's passing? So my example would be, so my aunt just passed away in March, and so my uncle is still living. And so a lot of people are going to start to think, so hypothetically, he wants to start getting invested into cryptocurrency. How could he end up using this? And what will happen to, let's say, his grandchildren, because he has 4, if he were to pass away and he had Inheriti?
Yeah, great question. So first thing that I would recommend, get all centralized and decentralized exchange credentials and include those as well. Because a lot of people don't realize when it's our time to go, it's our time to go. We don't think about stuff like that. So if you have tokens hard locked, not soft locked, hard locked, because that's usually what it is on an exchange, in a pool to where you can't take them out and you pass away, your heirs or the heirs of the deceased need to have access to that platform so that they could take those tokens out and move them around to the wallets needed after the hard lock is up, right? So that's the first thing I would do. I would make sure that they understand to put all credentials, not just private wallets, because of what I just said. But yeah, so input that data, all data that's needed to recover access to those assets. Then you get with your heirs and you explain to them, look, it's as easy as this. You see this little bitty safe key device? You hold on to this, and then you type in the PIN code whenever it's time to merge the plan shares. You wait for the DMS to go unanswered. Then the message is revealed as far as what you need to recover the assets. The lawyer tells you how to go about it, and then that's it.
That's really good. That's really good. The second part is going into NFTs. So this was also brought up on Twitter, and then I'll give an example. So we were talking about NFTs earlier, but explain how one can use Inheriti for NFTs. So for example, I was communicating with the Safe Haven community because someone just minted an NFT for me. So how could I use Inheriti with the NFT?
Yeah, so your NFT is stored on a private wallet. All you would need to do is input the mnemonic phrases or the key store of that private wallet to the inheritable data dialog box. And then that's all that the heirs would need to recover that wallet, because the NFT is stored on there. So if they have the data needed to recover the wallet, then they could recover it and then move that NFT to whichever other wallet they want. Because one thing that I'd like to point out, you shouldn't expect your heirs to keep that wallet that you give to them. You should expect them to go into the wallet with the merge authority and distribute the assets that belong to them to their private wallets that their brothers and sisters or other beneficiaries do not have the credentials to. If you don't do it like that and you keep everything on the wallet that everyone has the information to, then that's kind of silly, right? So when you're making the plan, I'd make sure to have a segment in there that explains to your beneficiaries, hey, if this merge authority isn't doing his job right and telling you to distribute them on your private wallet, because maybe the merge authority wants you to keep it on that wallet to where they can go back and steal it later. Who knows, right? You got to think like that. So yeah, tell the beneficiaries, make sure you make your own private wallet so that you're ready to send those assets as soon as you have access to them. And yeah.
Dang. Yeah, so thank you for that one. So question I've been waiting for probably for a couple of days. Someone was in Dubai not too long ago. So he was in Dubai, Stephen. So before we get into why
I saw those pics.
I know. So before we get into why you were in Dubai, just talk a little bit, because a lot of us are from America, how Dubai was, what were your thoughts there? Is it as futuristic as people say?
Yeah, 100%. It is as futuristic as everyone says. It's very hot. It's comparable to the Southeast and the Southwest because they get very, very, very hot. But it's a different type of heat. Different type of heat. It's like
a strong heat, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a strong heat. You feel like you're in the sauna, no humidity at all. But it's weird because I didn't sweat as much whenever I was over there. And what's even weirder, I sweated more at night in Dubai than during the day. I don't even know why, but that's just how my body reacted over there. When I walk outside in South Mississippi, it's like my whole body, the hairs just lay down because of condensation. You know? But so, it was great. Safest place in the world, I'd like to say as well.
Wow.
Safest place in the world, number one. There was never a moment.
Why do you say that?
Man, just all the way down to it's really the laws. Like they prevent people from having certain weapons or whatnot. Getting in and out of the country is so hard. Like not hard, but you have to go through so many steps. Kind of like just like America, but man, the way that they control the area with the police and whatnot is just you don't ever see anybody trying to do anything bad there.
Is it like over the top type of control?
No, nothing like that.
It's like this is how we're gonna keep people safe, so we're gonna keep doing it?
Pretty much. And look, I didn't get the feeling at all to where if I did something wrong, oh, I'm going to jail. It's not that type of security or control. It's just like you look around and everybody's just peaceful, happy, just doing their own thing. You're just like, so this is Dubai, okay.
How awesome are those buildings in person?
Oh man, they're gorgeous. They're absolutely stunning. I asked myself like a million times ahead. It's just like, why would you spend so much money making this building? But I'm glad you did.
I know.
It's like a hard feeling to describe, honestly.
And like they got, I mean, yeah, speaking of money, they got money.
They got money
over there. Like money that most people in the world will just have dreams about.
Yeah. So we'll go into it because why were you in Dubai for the people that don't know or haven't followed your Twitter or Safe Haven's Twitter?
Yeah, so we were there for the 7th annual Agora Blockchain Congress. Agora is basically an entity that establishes these meetings for blockchain projects to come together and show what each other's doing and how they could enhance the community that they're speaking at, in a sense. So it was all revolving around how to make Dubai more blockchain related, getting them more intertwined with crypto as a whole. And Saeed, forgive me if I say your full name wrong, but Saeed Al-Harad Darmak was there, the High Excellency.
Good.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's perfect.
I probably butchered it, but he was there with who was it? I think Josie from Tim Draper's foundation.
Okay.
And they were doing a fireside chat. And the main thing that Saeed was mentioning was how they're wanting to get blockchain developers over at their new convention center that they're building in Dubai. That's totally revolving around getting startup projects to start in Dubai, get funding, all that stuff, and provide a lot more opportunities for the people of Dubai as a whole, as well as teaching the children. So really cool idea of what they want to do in Dubai with blockchain technology. And what got me thinking about what Safe Haven could do other than Inheriti, providing decentralized inheritance for all the digital assets and software management, all that stuff, because it's not just crypto related, it could be traditional as well, was Fund Request. Fund Request is another product of ours. It's an open source platform that enables you to essentially outsource coding or development work needed on smart contracts. So in crypto, in order for you to move the currency from one location to another, or to use the currency to pay for something that will be airdropped to your wallet based upon a time-lapse contract, that's all smart contracts. You have to create the coding for that. There's multiple different languages that are used depending on which blockchain you're writing on. So you're talking about a lot of stuff, right? Well, Fund Request is going to be the platform where you can outsource all that. It's going to be like the Fiverr of the blockchain in a sense, to where you can go on there and say, I'm offering X amount of tokens for you to complete this one simple contract, this one simple task. So an experienced developer, they're going to go on that platform and they're going to see that bid in a sense, and they're going to say, okay, I want to take that on. So they take it on, they complete that work to where now you just fast track development and you don't have to wait months to look for a full stack developer and then wait months for them to implement the code work. Some random guy across the country or across the world just did it in a matter of days for whatever fee you put there, which would have been much cheaper than the actually building a team in a sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be the very first platform on Binance Smart Chain of its kind. So that's, yeah, it's going to be huge.
That's really big.
Yeah.
So what would you say were some of the benefits for you all going to the conference out there?
Biggest benefit was getting our name out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the biggest benefit, getting your name out there and making a presence in front of everybody. It's always number one. Number two is it comes with getting your name out there, but making the connections. We met a lot of other people who are also presenting their projects that we are looking to do work in a sense, as far as providing integrations of Inheriti or any one of our other products. And an integration simply meaning giving them the API codes to where they can connect with our platform, with their platform, to where users can press buttons and never leave their platform while getting our services. Kind of like a white label deal in a sense almost. But yeah, so that and then also private and angel investors. There were many people who attended, the private and angel investors, and they sat on one-on-one meetings with us. We had so many different meetings, like sitting at the table for hours of the day, having numerous groups of people coming up saying, okay, we want to invest this much for this in return, and just seeing all the deals, writing them all down. And now we're in the process of basically facilitating with them, deciding which provisional partnerships would be best, not only for the foundation, but for the community as a whole, to provide steady growth. And yeah, that's about where we're at now. We're basically just in the facilitation and feedback stage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was
I got a quick question. Did you guys have a goal going over there? I mean, I know, like you said, the goal is always to get your name out there and to make those connections and to build off those connections. And obviously you go for other reasons than that. But did you have any one or two particular strong goals that you went over there saying, hey, we want to accomplish this, and this, or make a connection with this person, or anything along those lines?
Yeah. The primary goal was essentially making connections with a couple of the high excellency people there to establish a presence for Inheriti, our flagship product. And that's what we spend all of our time and dedication on. Inheriti is our bread and butter. That's our baby of Safe Haven. Everything else, believe it or not, was just a side project that was built for fun while we were waiting on, seriously, while we were waiting on patents and stuff like that to get arranged, or like the next step for Inheriti. Because there comes a lot of times to where when you're developing something, you do the work, but then now you have to wait for it to get audited. Now you have to wait for someone to review this. So what are we going to do in the meantime? Well, what we did was we built other products that the world needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. So Stephen, we were talking in the beginning about how in Dubai they have money. This meeting with all these different companies, there was money in there. That is a big thing for sure that I know. The next one is a community question again. And it's kind of funny, the name, because the question goes along with the name. So it's from Providing Clarity on Twitter. And and they said, can you take time to break down and explain safe swap, an analogy maybe without technical words? So provide clarity.
Yeah. So act like, talk to like someone like myself.
Steven.
Yeah. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Okay. So safe swap, this one's really intricate, and it's going to be very exciting whenever everyone sees how it comes to full circle.
Let me strap in real quick. Let me get ready.
Yeah. I gotta stretch myself for this one.
There we go. All right, let's do this.
Okay, so Safe Swap is going to enable us to port any product of ours to multiple Ethereum virtual machine chains. So that means we're not going to be limited to VeChain. We're not going to be limited to Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Matic, let's say Quantum, a couple other ones, right? There's multiple EVM chains that we could port our products to as soon as we get done writing the token contracts for us to do the atomic swap of the SHA token to that one. Now, atomic swap, that's important. It's not no standard swap to where you're just creating another token, a whole new supply, and then now you're diluting the supply. No, none of that. God, no. An atomic swap is to where essentially you can only swap one token for another if the previous one is locked for X amount of time. So essentially what SafeSwap is going to enable is, let's say you need to take 10,000 SHA tokens and put them on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Well, there's going to be a pool to where you send the 10,000 SHA tokens to this pool. It gets locked. It's all in a smart contract. But then the smart contract recognizes that you sent that much to that pool. So inadvertently, what happens is 10,000 tokens from the SHA ERC20 pool instead of the VIP 180 pool, different token, right, will get released and put on your MySafe wallet, which is our open source wallet, pretty much like the white labeled wallet. Like, you know how there's wallets from Arcane Vinley, and
Mhm.
you could add token contracts like Trust Wallet, for example. You can add token
Yes.
contracts and keep on. Yeah. So as we expand to other chains and whatnot, we're going to add support through MySafe Wallet so that those secondary utility assets can be added as well, or like for the client who's wanting to use our products on those other chains.
That's good.
But that's what's going to happen with SafeSwap. It's going to allow us to port all of our products to pretty much any EVM chain. Our primary focus, though, are the first four: VeChain, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and Matic. Those are our primary focus. But yeah, as we advance, we'll add more. But also, it's going to allow our users to decide where they want to store their validator and backup shares for Inheriti as well, such as supported chains and whatnot. But it's going to open up some other things I can't talk about right now, though. The team would kill me.
Interesting.
No, yeah, I thank you for the breakdown, because that will help a lot of people to understand and provide clarity so that people will be able to act and go about this in the right direction. The next big thing, because a lot of people will bring up SafeSwap, is staking. And you all just end up finishing up the June staking, and you have different tiers to it. So explain what staking is for Safe Haven and what it offers to investors, as well as the tiers.
Yeah, of course. So what I want to make clear from the start is there are two different programs, in a sense, staking programs, but they work in conjunction. So the first program is the node program. Our node program, it's Connect, Harbor, Consensus, and Legacy. So a Connect node, you need 1 million SHA. A Harbor node, you need 2.5 million SHA. A Consensus node, you need 10 million SHA. And then a Legacy node, you need 30 million SHA. The only way that you can obtain those nodes is through maturation, maturing and letting them stay soft locked for X amount of time. So long story short, essentially, if you hold one of these nodes, then you get a percentage of the utility rewards received in our ecosystem. So let's say that someone establishes an Inheriti plan and it costs, I don't know, let's just use round numbers or something, $100, right? Let's say it costs $100 to start a lifetime Inheriti plan. Well, the way that it works is 50% will go to the foundation, then 40% will go to the nodes, and then the 10% will get burnt from the ecosystem. So as utilization occurs with all of our products, the demand of the token goes up due to scarcity from it burning. But getting back to the reward, that 40% from every time the product is used, that goes to a pool. Then that pool is then shared by all the node holders based upon the percentages in the protocol of the node system. And that's how node holders get their rewards, through utilization of products. Now, how it's tied to the fixed staking, all we did was basically, if you have a node, then you could stake more tokens for a greater APR. And that's the only difference. So if you don't have a node, you got to stake in the non-node. If you want higher APR, go make a node.
And for anyone that was wondering what 1 million SHA currently is, it's worth around $2,900, so 2,905 US American dollars. And you could just do the math on the remainder ones. So thank you for that, because that's something I also take part in, just to make sure I invest in the different the nodes and of that nature. So a big conversation is DeFi and DeFi lending. So is this something that Safe Haven would like to dive into, or are you guys even involved in DeFi?
I'll never say never. But in the beginning stages, we're not going to be looking to do any sort of DeFi lending, in a sense. It's mainly going to be about security management and providing peace of mind for people in DeFi. We'll move into something like that maybe later down the line. But in all honesty, we do have something kind of similar to that in the works for an Inheriti plan. There's going to be a specific Inheriti plan that allows you to set up a multi-controlled account in a sense, right? To where everyone has ownership to those keys and they can control what's going to happen with the pooling options.
Mm.
That's way far in the future whenever we come out with the Negotium network and the TCIP.
Wow.
The inner circle plan. Sorry, I'm not trying to use acronyms on everybody.
So another thing is, I didn't break it down, but for anyone that doesn't know, DeFi stands for decentralized finance. That's the big thing that a lot of people don't necessarily know. And the people would kill me if I didn't access, but are there any plans for any future exchange listings? Because that's the big thing everyone always wants to know.
Man, to be honest with you, I'll say that we are looking. We're looking at listing on exchanges in the future. But I can't say which ones or which ones we have our eyes set on, or which ones have their eyes set on us. I can't say any of that. That'll go against NDAs and I'll get fired.
Oh, yeah, you would. So before we wrap this part up, where can people reach out to you or continue conversations with you if they have questions or want to just talk to you?
Yeah, of course. Feel free to reach out directly to me at my email, which is Tyler, Tyler, at safetech.io. That's SAFETECH.io. Or Twitter is a great way to get a hold of me. It's my handle's Nebula Matrix with the underscore in between Nebula and Matrix. And Telegram, same exact thing, just capitalize Nebula underscore capital M lowercase Matrix. And the only reason why I do that is because someone actually tried creating a fake Nebula account on Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to capitalize everything to where people could tell what the real Nebula was, because what they were sneaky, man. They capitalized the L. They capitalized the lowercase L in Nebula, and it looked the exact same. So I was like, okay, I'll see what you're doing here.
Yeah. And if you guys are looking for Tyler on any social media, you'll find him. Like, the picture stands out, so you'll know once you end up typed in his name who he is. And so to end all of this, I'll start with Tyler, then I'll go into Steven. So we like to ask questions when we finish up with anyone, or even when Steven and I finish up conversations. So the question for today is, if you could sit down and have dinner with any 4 people in history or current day, Tyler, who would the 4 people be? And a little bit of why.
Okay. I'd have to say Nikola Tesla
Mm-hmm.
being number 1. Then I'd have to say Walt Disney being number 2.
That's good.
Then I'd have to say Socrates.
Oh, okay.
And then Jesus himself.
Okay.
Wow.
See, now this one,
That is,
he went way deeper than I could ever go, because would be
that is props.
That's a dinner that I would have to spend days on just to talk to each of them for at least a couple of days in itself. So, Steven, what are yours?
I don't even want,
and just to let everyone know, they did not get a lot of time to think about this as well. So this is just their raw emotions and what they're thinking is. So, Steven, you had some time. I saw one of yours.
I don't even want to give my after that list. Like, I mean, we're gonna be sitting at me and my 4 people. We're gonna be sitting at the kids' table compared to these guys. So I went. Okay, I went a different direction than all those guys, but I went with Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's my favorite athlete of all time. I know what he did. I'm not blind to it. But
if you look at him in college, he's a beast.
That's if we're talking strictly what he did on the field, I would want to sit down and talk about that, and then also talk about, you know, why he did what he did. Barack Obama is another one. I think because obviously him being the first Black president, I still think people don't understand how insane that really is in today's world. LeBron James, Christian knows my love for LeBron.
Dude, watch an episode and you'll find out.
Yeah. Just because it's the first athlete of at least of our generation that we've followed from start to finish. The biggest athlete, one of the top 2 or 3 biggest athletes on the planet right now. And then I would say this is a personal one. Probably my grandpa. He passed away when I was 15, and he was a Pearl Harbor survivor. So I think, and he lost his voice box when I was probably 2 or 3. So we had one of those things you had to put up there to talk with, and it was always like a challenge to understand him. But he would always tell me stories about that day and about Pearl Harbor and everything. And I would love to sit down and hear those stories again now that I'm a little older, because my mom always frowned upon him telling me about all of his buddies getting blown up that day. But the stories and just like the way he, because I saw interviews that people did with him, like for like the local paper and news stations, and they were always just like mind blowing. And we've all heard stories from people like who were in the war and everything, or like current day, whatever. So I think sitting down and listening to those stories would be pretty nuts. But that's my 4. It doesn't compare to Tyler's 4. Like I said, we're gonna be sitting at the kids table, and we'll get our food after you guys get yours. But yeah, I think it's a good list.
Nah, man, I think your dinner with your grandpa would trump any of the ones that I just mentioned on my list. 100%. There's nothing like spending time with your family, man.
Hell yeah, appreciate that.
So also, Steven brought up LeBron. So Space Jam is coming out July 16th for anyone that follows LeBron or any of the cartoon characters. Anthony Davis is in there. I know Klay Thompson's in there as well. And then you have Dame Dollar that's also in that movie. So mine don't compare to y'all's two, but I'm a huge person in the financial sector. So a lot of them are targeted that way. And I like people that are forward thinkers, but also will fight for equality. So my list, for anyone that knows, the first one is Chamath Palihapitiya. A lot of people do know him. He's an owner of the Golden State Warriors, but he is probably one of the most outspoken people you will ever see, hear, know. And I just like him, one, individually, because he will go on TV and tell like it is. He does not care who he's talking to or what the person is saying back to him. He will honestly say whatever it is straight up. He is one of the biggest advocates for Bitcoin. He will sit back and tell you right as it is, Bitcoin is the future. I don't really care what you have to say. He will cut you off for anything like that. The next one is Kathy Wood. And she is one of the biggest names. She's the founder of ARK Invest. And she's another forward thinker. She has a lot of shares in Tesla. She keeps it 100 as well. I do also like that she's a strong woman that's in the space of one, cryptocurrency, but also in the stock market. So that's another one. The next one, and anyone that knows me will understand this, I have a lot of books on this person, but Jack Dorsey. I'm not a huge person with Facebook, but Jack Dorsey is a big one. What he's doing in Africa, what him and Jay-Z are doing, but what he's done with Square, what he's done with cryptocurrency, and the different startup companies that he supports is another one. Jack, I still need my Cash App back because you keep thinking I'm laundering money just because I'm sending money other places, but I just need my Bitcoin back over there. But the next one is Malcolm X. So I do appreciate Malcolm X, all that he does. I love the movies that they've ever had about him. So those are my 4. We all went in different directions, and I do honestly like that. I can't top Tyler's, never will be able to top Tyler's. I even had to write this down.
No, you said Chamath, man. I want to backtrack on that one. Dude, Chamath has a dragon made after him. Did y'all know that?
So I heard about that. He's different. Dang.
Come on. Don't do it to me. Come on. Show it.
So I did see it. It was there for a split second.
A dragon.
Yeah, it was wild.
Let me remove this background thing. Sorry, guys. I'm going to remove this background. Because I
want to get back.
This.
I want to get back into the truck driving.
You know you want to bring that up.
Because so I have two separate things to ask. So we'll get back. I'll definitely get back into the truck driving thing. The first question that I ask.
Dang. Jeez. That's legit. Yeah.
That's Lil Chamath, man. It's in Coddle Pets. He's got NFTs named after him.
Damn.
He was immortalized as a dragon.
What?
If that's not real, I don't know what is.
Yeah, you could play these. You could play the game, get NFTs from playing with your NFTs. Well, I mean that part's not out yet, but they're staking by holding NFTs. Like you get passive rewards, all that stuff. But You said Shema, so I just wanted to bring that up really
Yeah,
quick.
that's crazy. He's a good one. Steven, so actually 2 quick ones, then we'll wrap this thing up.
Sure. So my first question, Tyler, is, and I don't have to get into the truck driving thing. We can save that for another time. You can come on. We can spend an hour talking about that. My question is, and I ask this to everybody who comes on with us, who's in the crypto space. So I know it's been around for a handful of years, 2009, 2010-ish, Christian, if that's correct, right?
Yeah.
When Bitcoin came out, and we'll stick with just Bitcoin because I think people know the word, but they don't know what it means. They don't know what it is. They don't know what you can do with it, whatever. And it's starting to become more and more mainstream. And I don't know if that's just the world that we live in now, where literally everything becomes mainstream for whatever reason. Why do you think that it's becoming more mainstream now? And over the last, like, maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, Bitcoin and cryptos as a whole is becoming a lot more talked about. It's becoming it's focal point of conversations. Is it just because it's the future? Why do you think that it's starting to become more and more mainstream?
Ease of use. Ease of use and the ability to be liquid in the markets, and not just the markets as far as trading. The markets is in the real world, because you could use Bitcoin to pay for anything nowadays if you have the right debit/credit card or the application. You can't really decide when you want to send mass amounts of money, if it's on the weekend or if it's after 8 to 5, because you can't get one of those little contracts written from your bank, a little Swift. It's like called a Swift code or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to get all that arranged. Well, with crypto, all you have to have is the receiving address of the party that you're sending it to, like the public key, and you input it and you can send it just within the matter, depending on the chain, within the matter of seconds or an hour. So,
and I got a spin-off question, and I don't want to put you on the spot with this, but a lot of people, I feel like they don't care a lot about crypto, about the crypto world, because like it doesn't like maybe apply to them, or like it's not something that they really need to care about. Like what do you think it's going to take for people like myself, or people who are really brand new to the whole crypto world? What do you think it's going to take for people to really dive into it? Because I know it's like it's there, and like it's like you said, the ease of use. It's
airdrop.
Okay, that's fair.
An airdrop. If you look at what El Salvador just got done doing, they just airdropped $30 worth of Bitcoin to all their citizens. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take that type of entity to step up and say, look, this is the change. This is what needs to happen. We're going to go buy X amount of this currency and just airdrop it to everybody so they could see how the whole process works. Go create a private wallet, learn how to move it, which $30 really isn't that much because the gas fees are pretty high.
Yeah, I know.
So, but
that's a track.
Right. But I'm glad to see that they did that, because it's revolutionary whenever you see a country airdrop Bitcoin to their citizens.
Yeah.
Now, awesome. Do you also think that it's like a knowledge thing? Because I think, just going off of my personal experience with it, like the more and more that I just kind of, and I said this in our first interview that we did, the reason why I am kind of starting to gain more knowledge of it is losing for a second.
Oh, you're good. So keep going. You can talk to me.
I was going to say, now I lost my train of thought. What was I even saying now?
So we were talking about El Salvador, and then the ease of use, and just with how Bitcoin.
Oh no, what I was going to say was the reason why I'm starting to gain more comfort, I guess, in like listening to these conversations and having like an actual educated thought on it, is just like the community aspect of things. And we've talked about this, plenty of times, especially with Mike. You and I just have mentioned it, like it's very welcoming. And I think that like plays a massive role in, people starting to understand things a lot more. And like now that it's becoming more mainstream, it's just like the media outlets are picking up on it, and social media obviously is a big thing in that world, and just like the world in general. But I think the ease of use, the amount of knowledge you can get from just certain communities and everything, I think that is another aspect of it that I think people should probably care more about. Like just the way that you can understand, how easily you can understand this type of just revolutionary aspect of life.
Yeah. And a big thing is for everyone out there, you don't even have to be invested in Bitcoin just yet. You can even take the stance that Steven does. Every single time he starts to even learn more information. And I do have to give a lot of credit to Tyler and also Safe Haven, because this is the most engaged Steven's been when it comes to cryptocurrency, and just being able to ease people in and have people have more conversations about it will help as we continue to move forward. But also seeing countries do it, and then also having a lot of billionaires or different investment firms end up being a part of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin will just allow people to watch it and put it on the radar necessarily. So with that, you got anything for everyone?
Let's go Bucks.
So before we end up leaving, I do want to end up saying a big shout out goes out to Trevor Lawrence. Man got money today. So he just signed a contract. So for everyone that doesn't know, Trevor Lawrence was the #1 pick and the draft, came out of Clemson, balled out there. Once he was in his first year, everyone knew that he was going to end up doing a lot, but he bought out at Clemson. He just signed a 4-year deal worth $36.8 million. And I'm not even going to tell you guys the signing bonus. I want you all to go look it up. He's also another person that is an advocate for cryptocurrency. He has received some of his money, not from this contract, but from some of his endorsement deals in cryptocurrency as well. Thoughts?
I mean, Jesus Christ himself, just taking one for the team, getting that money, spreading the word. And it sucks that he plays for the Jags, because it's just like the market, and he's going to have the chance to, when the questions do come up about him and crypto and like how he's doing it and why he did it and so on and so forth, he'll obviously, just his name alone and like the fact he was the #1 overall pick, he's a quarterback. I think that'll just allow him to expand on that. Hopefully they give him the chance to do so. Again, goes back to what I just said. The more knowledge that people can, digest from just like everything that's going on in the crypto worlds and the terminology and everything, and just having someone like him, one of the faces of, the future faces of the NFL, and like the future face now of like athletes doing crypto and accepting it for contracts and everything. Like, I mean, he's putting himself in a unbelievable spot.
Yeah. So him, and it just shows you what the future of the league is going to be. Again, we want to just let everyone know as we move towards the end of July and then we move into August, Steve and I will start to break down at different positions, probably go like top 5, then 6 through 10 at each of the main positions that a lot of people like to talk about. We're also going to get into detail about college football too. So Steven has a good amount of experience of that. Last thing, I just remembered this. What are your thoughts on the college players being able to get their money?
Well, and
Steven's old school, so brace yourself.
Yeah. In the words of the great philosopher Lebron James, when he won his first NBA title, it's about damn time.
I know.
I mean, a lot of these players at these big time schools are getting that money under the table. We all know it. We've all no one's blind to the fact that that's actually happening, especially the further south you go, the deeper the pockets get for those donors. So I think it's about time. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes for every sport. What are the sports in terms of like women's lacrosse or men's hockey or whatever the case may be. How is that all going to work with the payments and everything? And you're starting to see athletes, already literally the day it happened,
they were getting everybody.
They had to know that this was going to come, because it's been talked about, not just for years, years, but more recently, in the last handful of months, it's been known that it's going to be a thing. So those guys and girls were on the clock. They were waiting.
Ready.
More power to them. More power to them. And all the guys and girls who are, former college athletes now are like, damn, like really.
They talked about Reggie. They were talking about JJ Redick's was funny. Did you read what JJ Redick?
I did. Yo, give Reggie Bush his Heisman back.
Yeah.
There's no reason you should have taken it away. He wasn't like he did technically, he did something wrong. Like just like the Sha'Carri Richardson, she did something wrong, but like, come on. Like, come on. Let's put that away, give him his Heisman back, and everyone can be happy now.
Yeah. You got anything else for everyone before we head out?
Shout out to Penn State recruiting, Penn State football recruiting. Shout out. It's been a big last couple of days for us. Ohio State, we're coming for you. We're coming.
Yeah. So before we go, I do want to say thank you to Tyler from Safe Haven. I want to say thank you for letting us talk to Tyler for a little bit. Continue to just reach out to him and continue the conversation on Telegram. Like he said, you can email him. You can end up reaching out to him on Twitter. He will get back to you, and you'll continue to see Tyler and I. We will have a lot of conversations. Hit up Steven as well. Blow up his followers and things of that nature. It's always funny when we include him on the conversations. But with that, we'll catch you later. Thank you to everyone. Again, thank you, Tyler, Safe Haven. Catch you guys on Thursday for our regular one. Yes, sir.
Peace.